Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's Myers Corp Cosplay here with a guest. The Freakish Workshop is here.
Back by unpopular demand, I'm sure.
No, everyone loves you. You're rocking it in the cosplay world. I'm so glad you could be here. Folks, you're probably looking at this going, it says live up there in the corner. Why is this not live? Well, I'm not here right now, technically. I'm actually on vacation. And I didn't want to leave the viewers and lovers of Monday Night Nerd empty-handed for 2 weeks. So this is taped earlier, and I was sitting around thinking about what can we do? I can have a guest on here, and we could talk about normal things, or we could do something a little different. And what do we count as different? Noah and I are going to talk about what our favorite Batman suits are. There are hundreds that we could go through, but we've come up with 10 each roughly. There is a little bit overlap, but we're not going to call this a top 10 because let's be honest, everybody's got their own list, and we could sit here and argue for hours about whose is best and what we're just going to talk about our favorites, and I'm really excited because I've seen his list, he's seen my list, and there's some really good suits on there. What do you think, Noah?
I love this kind of medium in particular, just discussing, and I love the fact that we had overlap because, like you said, there are so many different suits, and even there are some that we've seen our lists. There's some where I go, oh, it's interesting because, like, really the only difference here is a different logo and long ears or short ears, and that's but that difference divides fans, and that's one of the coolest things. Similar to Spider-Man. With like Across the Spider-Verse, you get that all the different suit variations and which one's your favorite. So when we talked about this being a thing, I was so pumped. So pumped.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun. It was really fun doing some research on this, trying to figure out, like I said, there's hundreds of suits out there, and you just go, oh, well, I love this one. I love this one. And I'm like, well, I can't pick 50. I need to pick it. I need to narrow it down a little bit. So we've
thankfully half of the list I had, half of them were like immediates. I've always held on to them. The other half were I'm like, no, I should probably think about this for a second. And let's dig into the memory banks. So
that's true. I can guarantee you we're gonna finish this episode. We're gonna shut everything off. We're gonna say goodnight. I'm gonna be walking my dog and I'm gonna go, why didn't I say that one?
Yes.
And then 100%. I'm gonna post something in the comments saying, like, by the way, my 11th is
100%.
No, we're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to talk all about Batman. As always, folks, well, because we're not doing this live, I really don't have any news to talk about, but we definitely want to talk about our sponsor. As always, the sponsor on the show every single week is my beautiful, lovely wife, who I'm with on vacation. Couldn't do this without her. Couldn't do any of this without her. She is amazing. She inspires me every single day to get up and do cool stuff like this. Cosplaying, podcasting, all that fun stuff. So, hun, you'll always be my sponsor. I love you. Thank you very much. And folks, if you're tuning in, it means so much to me. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. It means the world to me. It definitely shows YouTube that you like the content, and this should be shared to other people because there's tons of cosplayers out there. There's tons of nerds out there that I think would really dig this, and I can't wait to see what their lists are. If you're watching, put in the comments, what's your list? Like, what's your top 5 or 10 Batman suits? Because I bet you have some that aren't even on this list, and we've got at least 20 here. So can't wait to read what your lists are. Noah, do you want to kick things off? What one do you want to start with?
Okay, I'm going to start off with one that I think I think it's a long-time classic ever since it came out. I think it's one that has multiple values to it that people love and look for in Batman suits. And that one is going to be the long Halloween suit. I'm just going to start with the long Halloween suit. For me in particular, it is one of the only suits that I can really stand the long ears and like the comically long ears. And like the ridiculous size cape. It's so good. The cape is a character unto itself in this comic series. It is phenomenal. I love the musculature in the suit. I love the utility belt. I like the cowl, the way that the face is shaped, and I think a lot of people agree with me. I think a lot of people love the Long Halloween story for what it is, primarily the story, but the suit itself stands out as an iconic suit in the Hall of Fame that is the Batman suit. So, what do you think?
I completely agree. This is a story that I think any Batman fan hears that a movie's coming out or an animated series or something, they're all going, we need to do the Long Halloween story.
Yes. Yes.
And there's a reason for it. It's the art, the story, and like you said, if you're a Batman artist and you skimp on the cape, you've wasted one of three important things about that character. You've got the way that Bruce acts, the way that Batman acts, and the way that Cape acts.
Yeah.
It really is a character amongst itself, and it is showcased so well in this story. Like you said, the long ears, for the most part, I'm partial to the long ears. There are some that go a little too comically long, where I'm like, this is going to interfere with a lot of your stuff. But I think this is a great representation of almost what they were trying to do for people who are not deep in the comics. Very much what they were trying to do in the newest Batman movie, where this is a Batman that lives in the shadows. This is not, as much as I love the Batman 66 and the Bright Knight, as people call him, this is a Batman that lives in the shadows, and everyone is terrified of the shadows. And just looking at this photo alone proves
it's more he's more symbol than man, and a lot of times I find that gets lost. There's usually, especially, and I love the short ears. I always describe the short ears as like Pitbull. It's a Pitbull version of Batman, just this brawler, head down. I love it, right? And then later on you're going to see multiple versions of the short ears that I love, but the symbol of like the demon bat in the shadows, you got to have the long ears. And I think Long Halloween and the popularity of Long Halloween did a lot for the Arkham games. The cape in that one stretches and moves, and you do things with the cape. The cape is a weapon unto itself in the games, and then you get the long ears. And I know that like the Long Halloween skin, the ears go even bigger. But I think it did so much for that. And I also think I know a lot of people don't like bringing him up, but it definitely shows the McFarlane style can work beyond Spawn, because it's really like a Spawn like cape. So I think it's just classic, and I'm bringing it up. So
no, I totally understand. That was definitely one on my list. I have some odd choices on mine that knocked it out of my top 10, but I do appreciate that book, and I appreciate that style. Let's jump into my number one, and we'll just go right into it because you brought it up. The McFarlane Batman. I am a giant Spawn fan, and that cape is iconic. And that 100%. That is a cover that I know so many Batman fans love. And I always loved it because it's obviously an homage to Spawn before Spawn was Spawn. But also, I think if you just had Batman in this, it'd be one thing. But having him holding somebody shows that protector that I think a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, but some people don't really think about with Batman. I think they really think about the vengeance and the justice and beating up bad guys. But this is someone who does care for the innocent. And I feel like that cover with the bats in the background and that big giant cape, almost holding her in, making sure that she's safe, is love it.
It's one of those things where I agree with you. It's phenomenal. I'm remembering, and again, talking about the capes, the cape has been either well done or forgotten. I find there's not many times where I look at it and go, dude, tone down the cape. No. I love the cape. The cape is phenomenal. I actually went, and McFarlane didn't include the woman in their statue. No. Their 1/18 scale statue. And I remember looking at that going, there's something wrong about the statue, and it's the protector side. And I think a lot of people, I remember when Affleck started in the Batman, especially after Dawn of Justice, and people going, this isn't my Batman. And they would bring up the Justice League episodes, the Justice League animated series, where he's comforting people, or in the comics where he's like playing like blocks with kids after their parents were killed. Like it is such an essential part that gets forgotten. And it's not just Affleck, it's not just Snyder. Like Nolan forgot about it too. Like it's one of those key things, and I love this cover. It is so good.
And for those who are not as diehard of a comic fan as we are, you may not notice that when this was printed, there are some coloring issues. There is a white splotch here, and there is a red splotch here where there should be yellow. McFarlane has always laughed that it took until the internet for people to really notice it, but now in comic culture, it's very well known that there was a printing issue. And this proves that this proves for anybody out there, if you do any content creation, there can be errors in your things and people will overlook it if you did that good of a job. So don't feel like everything has to be perfect.
100%.
All right. Where are we going next?
Okay. I'm going to go niche. I'm going to go video game. I'm going to bring up the DC Universe Online. I don't know what else to call it, but Brainiac Apocalypse suit. It shows up. It is. I don't know if it's a trailer or a cinematic, but it shows up for all of I think 3 minutes in this cinematic. And ever since then, it has been my favorite, especially when he's in the cinematic. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend you do. It's just a YouTube search. He's got the cape all around him. He's got that classic pulled cape look. And you can see his one arm. He's doing things on the back computer with one arm. And then Brainiac robots break in, and he just pulls aside the cape, all like Zorro style. And then you see that he's totally lost a limb, and just he activates the cowl, and it pops up from behind him. And then the spikes go chink. And I remember getting chills. I'm getting chills just thinking about the cinematic. And it's just been a classic. I think he's got rocket boots. It's so cool. It's such a badass piece of art and a badass suit. So I have to bring that up.
No, I completely agree. This is a suit that I love that trailer.
Yeah.
But I think it's too good. I remember watching that trailer going, I can't wait for that game. It's going to look nothing like this. No. But I love this trailer. And yeah, I had that same reaction when I saw even almost every character in that trailer. The art design of the Flash, even as a Green Lantern fan who doesn't last that long,
fantastic.
The giant Luthor, it is such a good look. And yeah, I had the same reaction when he pulls that cape away and you see this arm and not, I guess, a human arm. It really made me go, okay, this is not your typical DC story. This is something different. And just looking at this art, you're going, this is a Batman that he's seen some stuff and he doesn't mind doing a little extra damage.
Yeah, you don't F with this one. This is one of those just get out of the way, dude. Just no. Put it down and get out of the way. So yeah, this one was definitely, I think it's always been actually in my top 5. If someone were to ask about top 5, my brain just kind of goes Long Halloween, a bunch of other ones, and DC Online. So
I like it. I cannot argue with that one. All right, let's see. Where do we want to go next? Let's go with one of my favorite artists. Mostly because there's no bloody way I could ever draw this good or paint this good. And that is the Alex Ross Batman suit.
Yeah.
If you ever think of a cosplayer as Batman, that's what it should look like, in my opinion. It is such a clean look. It's the way Alex Ross paints, where you see a person, he literally will take a photograph of someone in the costume and paint it, which isn't cheating for any artists out there, because there is a giant debate. You can listen to Neil Adams talk about it, where he will argue, dude, it's okay to sketch and do stuff off photographs. Don't worry. But yeah, just the leather look, the homemade look of this costume has always been like, oh, anybody could be Batman.
Yes.
there are many suits out there, and we're going to get to a bunch of them where he is in $1 billion worth of tech.
Yeah.
And he can afford it. So I totally understand why. But I've always loved this Alex Ross suit because it honestly looks like a guy built himself a suit. He's got a couple compartments in his belt that he's going to hold some important stuff, and that's it.
Yep.
And it is clean. There's not a lot of extra baggage. It's simple. I've always liked it.
I think it's iconic because it harkens back to a time where superhero bodies didn't need to be dehydrated to look like superhero bodies. Yeah. You get that he's toned, he's muscular, but there isn't a 6-pack or an 8-pack. You're not seeing the rib lines. Like, it's so good. And like, there's even now, even in more recent versions, they've tried to make this suit look good again. And I think they've accomplished it, but it's always coming back to this suit.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah. No, I've always been a fan of Alex Ross. He is one of the few people I've never been able to meet because he never comes up to Canada, but
yeah.
Fingers crossed. I've got his art book here, and I would love to get him to sign it. But
that would be pretty cool. That'd be very cool.
I got McFarlane. I just need Alex now. All right, where are we going?
Okay, so let's see here. I got to think about it. I'm gonna bring up a controversial one.
Okay.
Well, what I think is controversial because I know the series kind of split fans. I'm going to bring up White Knight.
Okay.
I think White Knight, if you guys haven't watched it, or sorry, not watched it, if you guys haven't read it, the art is phenomenal. It's just got this amazing texture. You have this chalk, ink, I don't know, graininess to it that's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. The story involves basically Gotham realizing Batman has gone too far when the Joker ODs on antipsychotics and kind of goes sane and then leads a political movement against him. Yep. And then there's the Beyond the White Knight, which is, a separate story. But this suit is the best of so many different suits in my mind. You have a really big, bulky the utility belt, which is, I love that. I hate it when it gets so small you go, it's a TARDIS is what you have around your waist because it has to be bigger on the inside. You have the separated headpiece from the neck, which is very rarely done well in my opinion. You have the high collar of Gaslight. Or Gotham by Gaslight. Yeah. You have the gloves, the independent gloves of the first appearance. They're not purple, they're black. And then they also introduce some really, really cool. Oh, and then you have like the fat bat of the fat bat symbol from the Miller graphic novels. Yeah. Then they also introduce a bunch of cool things. They do something brand new with the spikes, and they put it up by the elbow, and they make it part of the gray. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you why I love it, but I do. And then there's like the thigh high boots, and I don't know why, but it just works in my opinion. And then the cape is also very big and flamboyant in this series, and that's what I love. The White Knight, I have the action figure from McFarlane, and it's one of my favorite of the McFarlane Batman figs. I love the version of Bruce. I love the story. When White Knight came out, to me, it was we can tell new Batman stories. There are Batman stories we haven't heard yet. And I thought this was fantastic. And then the suit was great. Not to mention you get one of the coolest Azrael suits and storylines in comic book history, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's why I stick with the White Knight suit. I don't know how you feel about it, but because I know a lot of comic fans didn't like the White Knight because of the ODing with the Joker, and the Joker can't be cured and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. What do you think?
I have no problem with it. This was a series that it's a newer series, and I'm not reading as many comics as I used to. Right. But my buddy Dave Thorne, who was on the show, he's a big comic collector, and he went, dude, you need to read this. And I went, oh, it's a Batman story. He goes, no. You have to read this.
Yes.
now. And I'm like, okay, great. He goes, no. Here's the books. I was like, okay, I guess I'm reading this. He goes, yeah, and you're gonna keep these are for you. These are not, you're not having to get them back. You enjoy them. And I was like, okay,
yeah.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I get why this is this is
Yeah.
a really good book. I kind of feel like this is almost a Western looking Batman.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Which I kind of like. The
Lone
big
Ranger kind of.
Yeah, I don't mind the collar. The thigh highs almost look like chaps, which I again have no problem with.
I've never looked at it that way. That is so cool.
That's the first thing I thought when I first read the book. I was like, oh, he's almost got that like you mentioned, the gaslight look, but also almost a Western look, which it's something I never would have put him in that. I would have thought more Jonah Hex or something like that, but it really works. I like the look. And
that's so
and
cool.
you know what? Those spikes, I agree. I like that look. I don't mind having them as part of the glove, but doing it actually part of the gray, it's a different take, but I don't mind it. I don't think it's as big of an issue as some fans that have had a problem with it. I think it works.
I think one of the coolest things too is that the utility belt is utility. Like you can see that there's the grapple gun rope, there's the grapple gun, there's a knife to cut things. Like it looks functional, which to me as a cosplayer, I always think about like I need things to make like I need things to look like they make sense. Yeah. And so in my mind, I just kind of looked at the belt itself and just went, "Oh, I love it. It looks functional. It's great." So no, I again top 5 suits in my opinion in my list of things, list of suits. It's top 5 for sure.
No, it's a very good suit. I have no problem with that being on the list. It's funny you mentioned the utility belt. It makes me think of one of the Adam West episodes with Robin. He had the big bat shield, the clear black bat shield. And back then they didn't know what to do with it. So I cannot remember the episode, but there's a shot of Robin. He's in the background and he folds up the shield and he just puts it behind him and drops it.
That's so good. I love it.
It's such a fun Easter egg because I could totally see them be like, what do we do with this after we're done? Just fold it up and drop it out of frame and no one will notice.
And I think in Arkham Asylum, they make a joke about that with like, are you going to need more pouches on your belt? I think Alfred makes fun of Bruce about that when you've gotten like the 5th tool flown to you, and he's like, "You're going to need more room."
It's one of the few belts, like you said, that you actually see a spot for everything, and you're not sitting there going like, "There's no way half that stuff fits in the belt," or it's so small that you can't use it.
Yeah. So also, I need to mention one of the coolest Batmobiles and one of the coolest Bat Cycles, in my opinion. Very okay. Yeah, that's worth celebrating, I guess.
Celebrate.
I need to figure out these settings, man. They're annoying. But if you saw the new Flash movie, I'm sorry. First off, second, the Bat Cycle that you see where Batman is near the back of the Bat Cycle, and you have this massive front piece. That's White Knight, like directly White Knight. The Bat Cycle has almost always been he sits in the middle, almost always. And so, or on top kind of deal. But him in the back, that's White Knight stuff. So definitely worth taking a look. And again, I think there's a third one being worked on with Batman Beyond, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe so.
But White Knight, Beyond White Knight, just as good as the first, as the precursor, and then the third one's now being worked on. I follow the artist on Instagram, and he's just an amazing artist. So I definitely recommend you guys read that.
Yeah, no, it's a great suit. I don't understand why people slam it as much as they do, because it's a different story. It's a different take, folks. If you don't like it, there'll be another one in 3 weeks. Like
Elseworlds, folks. It's an Elseworlds.
Exactly. Let's jump into one that we share.
Hell yeah,
let's jump into one that we share. And we both kind of had a quick conversation before the show started about, no one sent me his list, but I didn't send him mine. So we kind of went back and forth at the beginning, and we went, oh, I can't believe we both like this one. But there's a reason why we both like this Arkham Origins suit.
Yep.
Can you think of a more intimidating Batman?
Not at all. I think like you have to get into bigger suits to get, like, you have to go into the Justice Buster or the Hellbat or the whatever the Eternal God one that came out recently. Like, you have to get bigger to get more intimidating. There's no way you can shed armor and be more intimidating from this suit, especially when you see it lit up. When you're watching the heat waves in the game, it's so good. I also love, I want to point this out, he has a mixture of fabrics in there, and I love it when fabric is mixed in with mechanical pieces. Kind of Anthem-ish. I know, again, kind of a lot of people don't like that game, but the style of the mechs are phenomenal. And I do love it does, like, with all the rivets and almost some missing armor pieces somewhere, it does kind of look homemade, and I love that.
Yeah, this suit really jumped out at me when I saw it for the first time. I believe I saw this before I saw Freeze. So when I saw this, I was like, dude, you're fighting Freeze. Like, you're not fighting Clark. Like, calm down. And then I saw that Freeze is about the exact same size. I'm like, oh, now I see why you put 10 tons of armor on.
That's also something I want to point out, which I thought was fantastic for the origin films, is that you see character development in the villains you're going to see in the later games. Freeze's technology isn't as refined, and so he's bigger and bulkier. Yeah. Despite if you like that or not, but later in the games, you get that like sleek bodysuit look. But again, you see here, Batman also doesn't have the sleek armored suit down that he has in Arkham City. So I thought that was, it's just so good, man. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's one of the unappreciated games that I think is getting a lot more love now that it's had some time to breathe. I remember playing this game and loving it, and then everyone around me is going, yeah, and I'm like, dude, what's wrong with it? Well, it's not the same. Yeah, but that's not a bad thing. And I think it took, you know, the Arkham Knight having issues, and now Gotham Knights having issues, and Suicide Squad having the reputation it has, where people are going, oh, we had a good game back then. We just didn't appreciate it.
Well, and then also we got Deathstroke, and we were so close. We were so close to Deathstroke. And I think I would argue, and I would argue, but I also have a lot of celebrities that back me up with this. Deathstroke wasn't as popular before Arkham Origins as he was after. They went, oh, Deathstroke is actually a badass. Yeah. Like, I remember the that first time you meet him with the kick, and it's just so good. Not to mention, you have an amazing Deadshot battle, unlike Arkham City. It was just fantastic. I mean, the suit's a little bit different, and they got a different voice. Whatever. We got this suit out of it, guys. Come on. No, this is, when I think of a tank Batman, this is the suit I think of. It's huge. You know, he's going to kick someone's ass. That's huge. And like I said, not knowing that Freeze is the one that's getting killed or getting beat up, this is out of control. But then when you see who he's facing, you're kind of going, oh, okay, get it. And we don't see this kind of suit very often. No. We get tactical, like Justice League tactical armor, or we get the Arkham Knight armor, and then we go Justice Buster or Hellbat. We get like this massive increase, but we don't get this, like, it's just a big piece of shoulder pads and bigger gauntlets. Like, we don't get that Batman, which is why I think it stands out and is iconic, as we're saying. Yeah,
it definitely stands out, and it is one of the few video game suits that isn't a standard suit that is shocking to see. And is one of the best.
I agree.
All right, what's up next?
Let's talk DC animated movie universe. Okay. This one is very close to the Alex Ross suit, in my opinion. You get this skin tight feel, like he's just wearing fabric. There's no Kevlar underneath. There's nothing special. And it also introduced a very cool feature to the Batsuit, the chin guard, which can be done well and it can not be done well. I think the DC animated movie universe, and specifically Justice League War, is the one I bring up because it's the first time that we see him. it's a phenomenal look. I like the spikes on the arms are shorter. I love that you get the stylized belt. You, again, very much like Alex Ross, you get that idea of muscle, and you have the impression of muscle, but it is not jacked to the nines the way that, say, Long Halloween is, right? Where you get this, like, it's almost like Bruce is dehydrated and then they vacuum formed the suit to him. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting the muscle strands in the suit. Right. And again, so you get the short ears, you get the ear cups, so you can see where his ears are. And again, I love the chin strap, and I don't know why. I don't know if it adds anything. I just think it's really, really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't think he wears the underoos either in this one, which I do. I love the nostalgic part of the underoos over the suit, but I also think they've done away with it, and they can do it well enough that we can kind of accept that. So.
Yep. No, I have no problem with this one. I like the chin strap. Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. I see why people, because it's not the classic look. I see, you change anything on a bat suit, you're gonna have somebody complain about it. But no, I think it makes it more. It holds it in a little more. I feel like having just that floppy chin sometimes it doesn't really fit today's world. I feel like he would have a little more. I don't know. I don't want to say compression, but sort of something around his jaw. Specifically this one, it's one of the few almost lifelike looking capes where it just falls.
Yes.
Which I think as we've talked about earlier, I love the McFarlane giant cape, but I don't mind that natural look where it's just, like you said, it looks like how it would if you were a human. If you were a real person, that's how your cape would probably fall. It would wrap around your shoulders. I think this is one of the I think this is one of the better DC animated ones. I feel like it's a natural look. It's the ears are short, which I don't have a problem with,
But they're not too short. Like
they're not
White
exactly.
Knight. White Knights is the one thing that I kind of go, it's an art style, and so I kind of have to accept it. Is that White Knight ears are nubs? They're tiny. Yeah. This is that perfect mix of, say, Batfleck. You know what this is? This is almost more the Batman, Robert Pattinson's, right? Yep. It's long, not exaggerated long, like Long Halloween. It fits a purpose. You get the silhouette look. It's just overall good. And the chin strap, like you were saying, it's actually been a bane of Batman cosplayers because otherwise the suit, the cowl does this.
Yep.
And so you have to actually wear something under your chin anyway. And this gave a functional, stylized version of it. Which has affected most of my Batman cosplaying, to be honest with you. I remember seeing this and going, oh, I can do a chin strap. And then all my Batman up until recently have had chin straps.
Yeah, that flap on the sides for cosplaying is such a pain in the butt.
It is. It really
never sits properly. That's my Magneto does that too. My Magneto helmet. As soon as I put it down, it starts to do this. And I'm just like, get in. So
yeah, I guess it's the one thing that 3D printing can help with for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen people 3D print the face and the cheeks for then foam or fabric for cowls. So you get that like cheekbone kind of temple bone rigidness. And then everything else is nice, but yeah, no, 100%.
I like it. Let's throw away all of our viewers and let's just, sorry folks, I know you're not going to like this, but too bad it's my show.
Yeah, okay.
I love this suit. Hang on, before you click off the video, let me explain why, folks.
Here's your soapbox.
Thank you. I grew up as a kid of the 90s. So my first Batman was Adam West, but my first movies were Forever and Batman and Robin. For all those people who didn't like it because it wasn't meant for them, it was meant for me. I was the kid buying the Batman toys. And when I used to go to the store, there was never, like, before the McFarlanes, where you could get every version of Batman you've ever dreamed of, they would usually make a set, and there would be one version of Batman that was like a classic look, and there would always be a ice suit Batman or extra flight suit Batman or some version that has never existed in comics, never existed in any other medium except for this toy line. And those were the only ones that were on the shelf because everyone bought the ones that everybody wanted. These ones were always sitting there, and I always loved those for a nostalgic version. And folks, this is that version. This is the ice suit Batman and Robin suit from the movie Batman and Robin. And I know everyone hates the movie, but I have a soft spot for it. And when I see this, it reminds me of my childhood, and I love this suit. Yes, it's got its flaws, and Robin it's cold in Robin's world, so he's poking out. But I love this suit. I think it's a great homage to the 90s, and if you don't like it, I completely understand, but to me, this is my childhood toy Batman.
And hey, Marvel did the same thing. Spider-Man had a Jeep and a helicopter, and he had a snowboard. I had a snowboarding Spider-Man where he had a beanie. Like, it's one of those, like, 100%. I don't have any nostalgic attachment, but I understand, and I can respect what this was for the time.
Exactly. All right, everyone can come back now. All right, where are we going? What's up next?
Let's go. You know what? Let's stick to the color scheme, and let's go Justice Lords.
Okay.
Justice Lords Batman. I guess we should also point out one of the things that we did say was that it had to be Bruce Wayne. Because otherwise I would have brought in, like, I love the Jason Todd Batman suit and everything. So all of these we kind of talked had to be worn by Bruce Wayne. So this is technically still Bruce Wayne. The Justice Lord, I love the cape going down into the symbol, which we did see in the Michael Keaton version where it connected. I love the way it sits on the shoulders, very similar. It just kind of sits on him. I love the ears are, again, cartoony, but I still kind of dig it. And I love what they did with the belt, where you have that detachment between the belt buckle and the pouches. And then I love the bands. I love how they kept to the classic look of the spikes on the arm, but this one's got two. It's all black. It's dark gray. I don't know why I love it. I like the symbol also kind of is very similar to, and I don't remember when this came out in comparison to the Batman Beyond stuff, but it's a very Terry McGinnis bat symbol. And I love the silver sheen on it. I thought that was very, very cool. And it's just a very unique version of Bruce Wayne. That's like, it's the evil version. Yes. But I don't know. I just dig the changes they made, but also it's still very much Batman. So it's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's actually on my cosplay list of bat suits to make is the Justice Lords.
No, it's a great interpretation that, like, I totally agree with the chest emblem. That's the first thing I thought when I saw it. I'm like, this is a Batman Beyond version of it, which no problem with me on that one.
No. How many fat bats are there? Right? Like,
yeah. Yep. No, this is not one that I know a lot of, but I have obviously seen it in different forms, and I have no problem with it. I do agree. There are a couple other suits on here that we'll be talking about where that cape goes into the symbol, and I think that is something that it works very well. I think if you don't and you just have it on the shoulders, it's one thing, but I think that little bit extra going into the symbol is it's a nice little addition that some artists do and some don't.
I think it's easy. I think it's not. I shouldn't say easy. You can do it well, and then you can do it badly. And there's times where you go, "Oh, that's just tucked in for the sake of being tucked in," and I just don't like it. There's other times where you look like this, and I love the V, right? Like that shape is very cool. The leading lines. So yeah, that's always been one of my favorites for sure. And again, it only shows up very briefly. I don't even think that suit is the official, like, comic book canon suit for the Justice Lords. I think that's only the Justice League animated show version. So there's only a few episodes of that series, but to me, it's always stood out as like a unique and yet very iconic suit. So I had to bring it up.
No, I think it's a great one. Where do we go next? Let's go for one that we both agree on. I think we can both, and I think a lot of people would agree with us that
Yes. Yep.
this Affleck suit, folks, if you, when a lot of people heard that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, it had a very similar reaction when Michael Keaton was announced as Batman.
Yeah.
The
Christian Bale. Even Christian Bale
as well.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of crapped on it and said, I don't think so. That's not Batman. Folks, that's Batman. That is as close to the Frank Miller Dark Knight look as you're ever going to get. And he pulls it off so well.
I'm going to go a step further. It's going to be the most comic book accurate suit I think we'll get.
Yeah.
In that the gray spandex suit, the muscle tone, the gold belt, the draping cape.
Yep.
The one-piece cowl in particular. That was a big deal. I remember people seeing, I remember when Sad Batfleck came out and everyone was, oh, this is obviously a CG shot because it's one piece and he's doing this. And that's just not, you can't do that. We learned that from Keaton and Clooney.
Yep.
And then when you find out that, no, that's practical.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which I agree. When I first heard that it was going to be a one piece, I was like, dude, we just went through 3 movies of them explaining why having a motorcycle helmet style was way more practical in the real world. But then you see this and you're like, oh, you can do it as one piece and not Michael Myers' turn.
And not Michael Myers' turn, but also still have the same protection.
Yeah.
Right? Like Nolan makes a point of like, I want to be able to turn my head backing out of the driveway, but also still have armor. And so you get like the neck layers and everything. You have even like later on, you've got the Pattinson high collared neck. But when you see Alfred working on it and it's peeled back, and he's still wearing a helmet, guys. Like he's still wearing a Nolan style helmet. He's just got the latex layer over it. It's just so good. And Justice League does it a little bit better, but they changed it in Justice League. He's stiffer in that, you can tell.
Oh yeah.
And I don't like how a lot of people like the Justice League cowl because it's sharper and you have more of a frown. But I also love the softness. I like this dull. The light doesn't catch everything, and that's what you want in the dark. I thought that was great. And then the ears, the short ears. I'm a fan of short ears. And it really works for the style of Batman that Affleck was portraying. And so, this is my number one suit. And it's going to be a very long time before something takes over it, I think.
Sadly, it's a great suit. It's one of the bigger, intimidating looking suits, and that's partially based off the way Affleck is built. But no, I don't see any problem with that one. I think it's a great call, and I think out of all the movie suits, I think, like you said, that's the most comic accurate, and it's good.
Even if you don't like Batfleck on it, and you don't like the movies, you have to look at the suit and go, yeah, but damn, that's really good.
Yep.
You know? And specifically, I need to say this because a lot of people will. It's not the Justice League nicotine patch suit, guys. It is the Dawn of Justice Batman. Like it's that suit. I don't like the patches thing, so it's the original BVS suit. But I want to jump into another great suit that people are going to love. Arkham City / Arkham Knight. No one has had a problem with this suit. No one has had a problem with. Yes, the game's had issues. It's still one of the best video game, like comic book video games ever.
Yep.
The cape is phenomenal. Again, like the cape moves and transforms in size, and I love it. The utility belt's fantastic. Love the underoos in this one. Gauntlets are fantastic. The ears are long Halloween long, but it works. you know, it's just so good. And the reason why I say the Arkham Knight version, guys, is because in the beginning of the game, if you guys remember, he is wearing an Arkham City style suit. I think it's a little cleaned up and the shapes are a little bit different, but it's basically the Arkham City suit before he gets like the advanced, like the speed armor and everything. But yeah, no, that one, like, it still stands out as quintessential foundational Batman suit.
Yeah. No, it's going to be hard to find anybody who's a Batman fan or a video game fan or anybody really that has a problem with this suit.
Yeah.
It is become the Batman suit, I think, for a lot of people. It's really crazy to think that for decades you had that big yellow crest in the front. And it's hard not to get away from that. But once they made this, you just kind of went, nope, that's the new number one.
And you have to thank Nolan for it.
Yeah. I'm not a giant fan, but I will fully admit it's because of him.
Nolan did a lot for the Batsuit. And some things I don't like and some things I love. But can we get away without a yellow symbol? Which, if you're a comic book fan, you know that the yellow symbol stands for something, or at least it became something that, you know, it's a target. It's got the most armor, blah, blah, blah. Yep. But because of that, and because of Miller, but mostly because Nolan did it in live action, I think, we now have this beauty of a suit.
Yep. No, it's hard to say anything bad about it. Easy. And that one is on my list as well.
You also got to love the gadgets, the compartmentalized, like, building the gadget thing. That was really cool. The collapsible gadgets, that was really cool too. It gave a little bit of realism to the Bat utility belt. You could have different pieces and pull them out and build something, and you know,
that like we talked about before. I think some people take liberty with that, where you kind of look at it and go, "There's no way all that can fit." They made it work a lot better in this one.
And in a video game, you just have to, you just have to make it work. So,
okay, let's see. Where do we go next? Let's go for a toy. I have a very good story about this. Well, I don't know if it's a good story, but I have a story about it. This is a toy that I knew it existed, but I didn't know I'd enjoy it as much until I got it. And that is the Play Arts Bushido Batman Samurai. Back in the day, I want to say about 10 years ago, there were people selling these on eBay for $40. If you've ever wanted one now, they're $100, $150, almost $200, depending on which one. Play Arts does different versions of almost every character you've ever thought of. They do superheroes, they do Final Fantasy, they do tons of different characters. But they're all highly detailed, highly articulated, almost to the point of being a statue, but they can move like an action figure.
Yeah.
I ordered a Batman Two-Face version. There's a version that they created where it is Batman on one side and the other side is a Batman, but it's all twisted. He's got the grin like Two-Face. He's got guns. It's a really cool figure. I found it on eBay and I ordered it, and this one arrived accidentally. And back then there was trying to get things returned and stuff. It was a big pain in the butt. It wasn't like Amazon is now where it's quick. So I said, screw it, I'm just going to keep it. And once I actually put it up and looked at it, I was like, this is one of the best looking samurai Batman I've ever seen. And this was before even the animated special came out. The armor is amazing. The black and red is a style that I'm not traditionally a big fan of. I feel the black and red is way more Nightwing, but I think it works very well on this figure. The detail of it, the grappling hook looks like a grappling hook. The double katana looks sick when he's standing with them.
The asymmetrical side of it, where you've got the heavy armor on one side, can be overdone and doesn't look very good. I think it looks fantastic in this.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. And I got to admit, when I saw that the Samurai Batman special coming up, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what it looks like. And I'm like, my toy looks 10 times better than that special did. So, no, I
100%.
really dig this look. And this would be an amazing cosplay to build, but it would take so much freaking work and so much precise detail. But no, the Play Arts folks do an amazing job on all their figures. And like I said, this was one that I kind of was like, I don't know. I kind of wanted Two-Face, but then no, it's a great looking figure. So
100%, I agree.
All right.
I'm going, that's for my next one. I'm going to do something a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more current, quote unquote. I'm going to go New 52 0-year Dark City suit. This is a apocalypse suit. And I say that as in the world's ended, or the world as we know it has ended, and so the bat suit has changed and altered to match its surroundings. In this version, the Riddler has taken over Gotham, and it's very much the Dark Knight Rises. The outside world can't get in. If anyone tries to get out, we're going to kill you. But it's the Riddler instead of Bane. And so I just love the crossbow and the military, like the Marine kind of backpack. I love the utility belt. Again, is utility. You can see the grappling hook there. You can see like the little pouches next to big pouches next to hoops. I love the knife on the calf. In particular, for those of you guys who don't know the comic books, this one and this suit is actually very close to the New 52's beginning. And so if you notice, he's got purple gloves. Yep. And I think it works so well, even though he's got the ripped sleeves and then purple gloves. I think it looks fantastic. Moving to the cowl, I actually really like how the ears are set so far back. Sometimes that can be overdone and it looks really silly because most of the time they're straight above, very Alex Ross, right above the ears. But this one, I love the snout, I call it, where like the angle that the cowl is up the front with the nose. I like how far down it goes. I like the eyes of the cowl. And I just love the way that Bruce has customized the suit to fit the summer, essentially. And it's Batman with a crossbow, a compound crossbow. How cool is that? You know what I mean? There's also a great one where he's got a bow and he's sitting on it. He's kind of like, he's got his knees up and he's doing this on his knees with the bow over like a little fire. It's just so cool. Out of all of the apocalypse suits, and I know that you've got one that you're going to bring up as well, but I think this one's definitely one of my favorite apocalypse bat suits. And I hope people agree with me.
Yep. This series came out a little after I kind of stopped regularly reading. Like I was big on the New 52, and then once we got into the villain series that came out, I really it just became too much. I couldn't keep up with everything. And I remember I was working at Toys R Us with a good buddy of mine, Tom, and he came in with that cover of him kind of hunched over. Yeah. And I went, what the hell's that? And he goes, this is Batman. And I'm like, bull crap, that's Batman. He goes, no, that's the new Batman. I'm like, are you joking? This looks really cool. And I remember flipping through it, and I had already started cosplay at that point. I'm like, I could cosplay as Batman finally, because this is easy to cosplay. I'm not built like it, but it's
a Batman t-shirt. That's really what it is.
It really is. All I gotta do is build a cowl. But but once I read the story, like you said, it really makes sense that this is a Batman that he doesn't need all the extra frills at this point, because he's running through the world and he just needs what he needs. And I think it's a great look. Even the bike in this shot, like, I love the bike. Love the bike. You could easily blow that into some big giant tumbler style bat bike, but it's like, no, he just needs a little bit of extra armor on a motocross.
And I think this version in particular, just because I haven't seen too many, the Bat Cycle isn't actually that popular, which is really unfortunate, because I feel like most Batmen should start off with the Bat Cycle, not the Batmobile.
Yeah, that's fair.
But this Bat Cycle is literally like a dirt bike with a Batman-shaped shield up front, and we see that in the Pattinson version, where it's just a regular motorbike. It's just got the bat symbol up front. but it does so much. It just immediately screams Batman. It screams Bruce, in my opinion. And I love the new 52 full suit as well. Like especially because it looks so raw. He has like these lines going down that looks like because he ordered the suit and he's building it as it goes. You know what I mean? And then the purple gloves are fantastic. Like you got to get that first appearance purple glove in there, similar to White Knight, where he's got those like independent gloves from the gauntlets. And I think the new 52 0 year does a great job of that.
Yeah. No, this one shocked me and it made me kind of go, okay, I got to start reading Batman again.
So that one was I just deleted it. Let me back up here. Dark City. If you guys are looking into that comic book series, it's the Dark City run. I think it's phenomenal. It's one of the best Riddler interpretations as well, in my opinion. And it's just a great overall story. So I definitely recommend reading that.
Yeah. You kind of brought it up earlier in this, talking about this Apocalypse Batman. This one has been on my list since I first saw it. And this is one of my number ones. And why it does not get the love that it does, or that it should, I don't know why.
It's just so good.
The death metal Batman, folks, if you're a Batman cosplayer, why the hell have you not done this yet?
Yeah.
Like, folks, it's Batman. He's in a giant leather trench coat. He's got a scythe. He rides a bike with a skull on the front, and he plays guitar.
Not just a skull, a bat skull.
A bat skull. Why is no one doing this as a cosplay? Because if I find a leather jacket that I can actually destroy, because I have one and it's for Crow, but if I find another one, I'm doing this. Because like I have the Bat Metal series. I've read parts of it. I need to read the rest of it. I know around this time this was the Batman Who Laughs gets all the praise, and I get it, but I'm like, folks.
Well, he was also, this version is introduced kind of after the hype.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons why. But it's like, guys, it's Lobo and Batman.
Yeah.
It's the combo no one asked for, but we all love. It's fantastic. You know what I mean? It's so good.
No, I do not understand why this does not get cosplayed more, because it is such a dope look. And everything Batman is in this. Like, it shocks me, because we have things, if you have time after this, go on YouTube, type up Batman metal. There's 3 songs that were done that were different versions of metal songs, but they've all animated in the Bat family. This is what it should look like, because it's literally Batman in a metal band. Like, I still don't get it. And I've talked to a couple Batman cosplayers, and they're just like, I don't know. I'm like, okay,
you're missing out.
Stick with the classic, but I'm sorry, that's a great look for me, and it's one of my favorites. And if I ever get a trench coat that I can actually do some damage to, that is being made.
I should figure out what you should tell me what size you are, so that when I go to Value Village and all that, I should be looking for you. Just going like, I found a leather joke.
I would be so happy. There have been times I've looked at that Crow one and I'm like, I know I'm going to need it again later.
I just need to point out, thigh highs work in Batman, not just in the White Knight. Like, it looks good. I love the Western. I've never seen White Knight as a Western before, and it 100% is.
Yep.
It's the sheriff that's gone rogue, and the town's going, enough, sheriff. It's phenomenal. That's so cool. I love how you brought that up. I love that. Thank you for bringing that up.
No problem.
And this one's even more Western. I was looking at it again. There's so much to it. You have the thigh highs. You've got the short ears. The bat scythe is a bat symbol cut in half.
Yep.
Like, it's the bat. It's the wing. It's so cool, guys. It's so cool.
Yep. All right. Got a couple left.
Yeah. I feel like we should leave the extraterrestrial one for the end, because I'm surprised we haven't brought it up yet, so I'm not going to bring it up. I want to bring in the Hellbat. because yes, like it's a mech suit and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, again, it's one of those suits that no one argues with. Everyone's like, yeah, man, Hellbat. Yep. It's something like, what is it? It's made out of nth metal, forged in a star. It's got the spells from Themyscira, something with willpower from the Green Lantern rings. It was honestly, I know that's not the same, but the Hellbat look, this forged look, in my mind is very similar to the Flash version of the Dark Knight's metal. Yep. I love the idea of the Batmobile and Batman and the Speed Force and all that. I love the look of it, but I had to go with the Hellbat. It's so good. It's the whole like, well, Batman's just a dude without powers. You're like, yeah, Hellbat.
Yeah,
the powers of the Justice League in the brain of Bat. Like it's so good, and it's also just quintessential Batman. You know what I mean? It's so good. And it's just the look. I know it's had different looks over the years, but I think this version, the visor, the Cyclopean visor, absolutely badass, and it's hard to beat.
Yeah, this is one that I had on my list temporarily. People are probably going, but you kept Batman Robin. Yeah, I know. Personal reasons, folks. But no, I remember reading this and my reaction. I'm gonna try to zoom in to. That's my reaction. Where I kind of saw this suit and went, "Oh, it's about to go down."
Well, not just that; it's Caliban. Like,
yeah,
the dude that like comes to deal with Superman.
Yeah.
And he's just been totaled by the Hellbat suit, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
Yeah, no. This is a suit that I think if you were like he's going up against Darkseid, this is what he's wearing.
Yeah. 100%.
And he's ready. Like I don't ever see this suit and feel like there's a lack of confidence.
No.
He knows what he's got up his arsenal and he's ready to unleash it.
Well, and not just that, I think it's also quintessential Bruce Wayne in that I'm willing to lay down my life in order to deal with this threat.
Yeah.
The fact that the Hellbat suit draws its power from the life force of Bruce is just so Batman, and not in like a heavy metal, way, but in he knows what it means to wear the suit, and he's taught other superheroes what it means to wear a superhero suit. And so for him not to have that conquered, for him to still have the challenge himself and going, this is still something I do need to think through. When I put the Hellbat suit on, I'm kind of saying goodbye.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's another one of those character quirks or character storylines that I think it's missing, but you can only do it with the Hellbat. So I think it's great.
No, it's a great, great suit. Only a couple left. I think, we're in agreement. We're going to leave the bonus ones for the end. But I have to do a shout out to someone who recreated and gave a lot more dynamic to the way the Batman suit looks and the way, especially talking about the cape. Neil Adams' Batman, when you think of that gray and blue look, if you don't think of Neil Adams' Batman, you're either too young to know about it or you're completely missing the point. It is the quintessential Batman look, in my opinion. I know a lot of people, like we said earlier, have a problem with that symbol on his chest, but I'm sorry. It works so well. The capes in all of his art is one of the first times that you really see that cape move properly. I remember watching an interview with him talking about how to move with a cape, and a lot of people would draw Batman standing in one position and then standing in another position and not showing that transition. He was the first one who would show almost the throwing of a cape.
Yeah.
And Batman would move, because if you try and turn with a cape on, you walk into it. You need to give it a little bit of that throw. And he always said that that was from watching a lot of the old Dracula movies and seeing Dracula throw a cape when he would turn and walk away. So
it's the whole like that
exactly,
kind of,
knowing how to move with a cape and not just cheating and going, he's facing this way and the next panel he's facing that way, showing that dynamic move of the cape flowing and, like we've said earlier, having a character of its own. So I love this. I know some people have a problem with there's a little bit of puffiness for where the cape is. It's not as the way modern Batmans are, where it's very flat. This shows a lot more, I feel, has a lot more fabric to it, has a lot more bundled here because it doesn't go just into the shoulders or into the logo. It sort of goes right across his neck. But I love this look.
It's really just the toned down Long Halloween. Like it
really is.
You know what I mean? Like it's just so good. So good.
It is. I think he's one of the first to really understand that cape and understand how Batman should look, and not, like I said, just not cheap, and not nothing against any of the original Batman artists, but you could definitely tell there's a difference once Neil took over. That this has got a lot more dynamic and a lot more posing. Very similar to when Todd took over Spider-Man, and one of the few artists to go, well, if he's got all this flexibility, why isn't his foot above his head when he's swinging?
Yeah.
So,
which has now become like you kind of have to get that the Spider-Man like kind of look, right? So
exactly. So
this I can't say for sure that it was the Neil Adams Batman toy, but this style of toy, the blue, the gray, the yellow symbol, first Batman toy I ever had.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, that was the one where I went, oh, I can't forget. I forgot that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was a good one.
All right. You have one left, I think.
Yes, I've got one left, which we both agreed with in one way or another. It's I'm going with the Batman Damned suit, but really it's Noel and Damned because they're essentially identical, except for like one feature. I love the neck. I don't even know what to call it. The gorget. I'll call it the gorget.
Yeah.
The neck armor. I love it. It's not functional whatsoever. Like you're going to be knocking your helmet over and up. And like nowadays, people who do the cosplay have it separate around the neck. So it's more like football pads. I love the bat symbol. I love the homemade look of everything, especially the suit. The Damned suit, for those of you who don't know, all that chainmail in the Noel suit, in the torso looks a bit different in the Noel, but it's essentially the Noel suit has padded leather looking. It has this padded leather look where the chainmail is. But I love the chainmail look of the Damned suit. Otherwise, the short ears, the cowl, the gorget, everything is the same as Noel. But I thought this one, when Arkham City came out with the DLC for the Noel, always had it. I also love the loops coming down from the bat suit. I actually have, I haven't glued them down, but I've actually have those made to attach to my own Batman utility belt. I just haven't glued them down, but I just love the idea of being able to expand the bat suit a little bit in the utility belt. I love the gauntlets. The idea of like they're cloth. They're not armored in the way that the Arkham City one is very obviously like carbon fiber, and he's like buckling them in. This is a glove that he's pulled up. And I love the cape. The cape more than I think any other cape looks bulletproof. It's heavy. It looks thick and it looks heavy, and it's so cool. So cool.
Yeah, no, I've always loved this style, and I haven't read the Damned book, but I have read Noel, and that's like you said, it's very similar.
Yeah, Damned is one of those ones where I go, I see where they're going with the storyline. Not my cup of tea for a Bruce Wayne story, but the suit is beautiful. So
yeah, that the logo going into the shoulders, that's the first thing that caught my attention when I saw that suit. I was like, that's a different look, but it kind of works.
Yeah, and it catches the light so beautifully.
It does.
Like you can imagine the Pattinson coming out of the shadows scene where the light's just going to catch those, and so you get this like unearthly demon bust coming out of the inky darkness. You know, it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one that I really think gives you a little bit of that Spawn of I can see him raping himself in the cape in the shadows and then busting it out. Yeah, no, I like it. I knowing the Noel suit and seeing this version, I actually don't mind the chainmail. I think that actually adds a little more functionality is not the word, but it makes it a little more real where you actually see like, oh no, he's really protected underneath and that chainmail is there for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
No, I got nothing bad to say about that suit. I really like it.
I think when it comes to the damned storyline, a lot of people had problems with the storyline. No one's touched the suit. No one's made fun of the suit. I haven't heard or seen anybody complain about that suit. So now we get to the fun ones.
And you can probably guess based off my favorite DC character why this is on my list. Folks, if he was to ever get a lantern ring, he's getting yellow. I'm sorry. I have the what the heck is it called? It's the book where the lantern ring falls into Wayne Manor and Batman becomes a Green Lantern. Or no, sorry. Yeah, and he
becomes
Yeah. And
I know what you're talking about.
I get it, but I'm sorry. He's got the willpower, but I'm sorry. He's fear incarnate. Like that is Batman.
And I think the difference between what you're talking about, and I know I don't remember the name of it either, is that he isn't Batman before.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the one thing that they can, the caveat that they can play off of, but 100%. Just to get it out of the way, I because I was coming on Myers Corp Cosplay Monday Night Nerd, I had to include a lantern. I went with the Black Lantern.
Yes.
Death one. But I 100% knew that Michael was going to do the Fear Lantern, the Yellow Lanterns, and I think the Death Corps would bow to the Fear, that version of the Batsuit. The only thing that I love is you get the Flashpoint spiky shoulders. Otherwise, the suit is just very basic. It's not, it's not nothing new. It doesn't do anything new to the suit, except you get the Flashpoint. You get Bruce Wayne wearing the Flashpoint shoulders, which I love. I love that.
Yeah, no, I have nothing bad to say about the Black Lantern Batman. I think it really works. I think it's definitely a moment in the story where you really realize the gravitas of the situation, where everybody that's ever died in the DC universe is coming back to life, sort of, and is going to be taken on the Lantern course. So I have no problem with this. I just feel like I said earlier, if in the Blackest Night story, every court does send out a ring, and one character does pick up each color. Batman's dead at this point, so he doesn't get one. It actually goes to Scarecrow, which is bloody perfect. But I think if Batman was alive, I think that would have been the perfect situation. And similar to, as you said about the Noel in Batman in Arkham City, that's my skin in Arkham City. And I will fully admit, I bought the Green Lantern movie for that code, so I could get that suit. Because as a Green Lantern fan, I will fully admit I'm not a giant fan of that movie, even though I love that character. But once I saw that skin was in the codes for when you bought the DVD, I'm like, I'm buying it on DVD because I wanted to play Arkham City.
I love the way that the lines, like the V's, work with the suit. I love the yellow shoulders, but the black biceps. I also, again, it's one of the things that a lot of people, it's like Godzilla. Godzilla needs to have descending dorsal fins, and there needs to be 3 big ones on his shoulders. And But Batman, yes, I agree with you. He usually needs 3 spikes on his gauntlet, but sometimes 2 is just as cool.
Yep.
And this proves it in my mind. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think kind of going off of the Black Lantern one. I like that suit, but it was very probably because this was the origin of the Black Lanterns. They didn't really have a lot to work off of source material wise. Yeah. So the logo is just the logo with the Black Lantern. This looks very similar to Sinestro's suit.
Yep.
That's how Sinestro's chest armor is. So I think if you just did, and it's what they do for when he gets the Green Lantern, of just having the bat symbol with the logo in the middle, I feel like that's a cheap. I feel like they could do more with that, and I feel like they did it with this, where they went, we all know it's Batman. He doesn't have to have the logo on his chest.
No.
We'll just make him as if he had a lantern suit, and that's what they did.
Well, and the chest symbol itself, like, other than the yellow, right, where this is where you're supposed to shoot here. Yeah. That mythos, really, it's more of the symbology of Batman. So if your symbology changes, if he's fear incarnate with the ring, the bat symbol doesn't make sense because now it's the lantern. Now the symbology's shifted, right? And I agree, it's more of the branding bit. Yeah. But no, 100%. Like you have to do a yellow lantern. The fear, it's so good. And yellow looks great on him. We know yellow looks great on him. Yeah. It's not like Superman. I don't remember what ring. Doesn't he? I think he gets life. Doesn't he get the blue lantern?
Everybody gets. Yeah, he's ring. One of the people who gets life at the end of the book.
Yeah, and like blue, black, and white just doesn't look good on Cal.
It looks weird.
Yeah, you have to have red. Red needs to exist on the Superman suit, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And so some people didn't work. It worked for Batman.
100%. It really did. Folks, that is all of our bat suits. I think we've covered a wide variety. I was really thinking we were just going to do movies and comics, but we hit some left field ones, which I really think were fun to talk about, because I don't think, like we've said for a few of them, they don't get the love that they should. Especially things like that Arkham Origins Freeze suit just doesn't get that love that it.
Well, if you didn't buy it for the DLC, you weren't going to see it, right?
Exactly.
Like, you had to pay for the DLC, so
exactly. Yeah. This has been a lot of fun. I think we need to do this again. I think you brought it up earlier that there's another arachnid superhero out there that has many different versions. We might have to do a future episode where we talk about our favorite Spider-Man suits, or our favorite Spider-Man, or something like that.
Absolutely, 100%. Any comic book character I could do this for. I just do this in my head all the time anyway. So
I like it. Well, folks, thank you very much if you stuck around. I really appreciate it. Noah, let the people know what you got going on. I know this is going out a little later, but I know you got a series started on your YouTube page. Let the folks know what that is and what they can expect.
For sure. So to start off, you can find me on Instagram, the Freakish Workshop, _. Anyway, whatever. Same thing on my Etsy channel, or my Etsy marketplace, where I sell a bunch of templates, both specialist, like special forces helmets, like modern day Navy SEAL helmets, to basic pouches for utility belts. But recently I started, and by now we'll have started a second series, but the first one is called So You Want to Be a Cosplayer. If you're brand new to the hobby, or you know someone brand new to the hobby, and they want to know a little bit more about the community, specifically the community, what is cosplay? So You Want to Be a Cosplayer is trying to answer those questions, taking very large topics and a very, I think, Michael, you'd agree with me, sometimes a very scary looking community, and turning it into a much less scary by just putting some very general fluid labels on things. Also interviewing guys like that guy, that one right this way. Yes, this way here. I interview Michael on talking about conventions for beginners, comic conventions for beginners, and many, many more planned, and by now hopefully published. My second series, which will be out by now, is Foam Crafting 101. If you've ever wanted to go through step by step on how to foam craft. I'm going to take you from materials and tools to painting and finishing a foam project, including templating, tips and tricks. I'm not a master of foam smithing, but what I know, I offer to you in this series, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. As of today, because I know this is recorded, I've written the first couple of episodes and I'm fired up. So I'd love it if you go take a look at those series, and hopefully you guys get a little bit of education or knowledge from that as well. So yeah.
You're really humble, dude. Look at his goblin. He knows how to foam smith. If you need help foam, if you have any questions or anything, this is the guy to talk to, because check out his goblin, check out his templates. Like, this is a guy who does it and does it well. So
thank you very much.
You're being very humble, and I get it. But
it's because I always look up to Evil Ted and SKS and all that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not there yet, but I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem. You deserve it. Folks, thank you again for watching. I'm not sure if this is going to go up the first week that I'm away or the second week I'm away, but one of those weeks this will be live. So either next week or the week after, I'll be going back live. Don't know what the episode is going to be, but we'll definitely be coming back next week for more Monday Night Nerd. Thank you, folks, again. If you loved the episode, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all those things. If you want to find out more about Freakish Workshop, all of his social links will be down below as well, as long as mine. You can check out all of his patterns, all of his videos. He's got a lot to offer the cosplay community. Folks, it's been a pleasure. Noah, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being on the show.
Of course, anytime.
We'll see you all very soon on the next Monday Night Nerd. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.